Welcome back to Living 808. The UH Better Tomorrow Speaker Series brings incredible speakers and stories to our islands. And today we're joined by Helen Czerski, from explosive beginnings in physics to uncovering the hidden forces of the sea. She's changing the way that we understand the ocean. The ocean physicist, author, and University College London professor joins us now with all the details on how you can hear her speak and what she's been up to. Aloha.
Hello, it's been lovely to be here.
Yes, so excited to have you here in Hawaii. And I'm excited to share about everything you've done because you are such an impressive woman. I mean, when you talk about your career, can you share a bit about it? How did you start out with, researching high explosives to now becoming an ocean scientist? It's
not a typical journey, is it? Basically, I'm interested in the physics of how the world works. I'm interested in the world around me and what it's doing. And so explosives was a bit of an accidental thing. I did a degree in physics, and then I was interested in the small things that are happening just too fast for you to see. And of course, explosives are one of those things, how they go. So I kind of ended up in the lab building experiments to look at what happens in the few milliseconds and microseconds just after or just before an explosion happens. But really, I was interested in the high-speed photography. I was interested in looking into a world that could be right in front of you and you couldn't see. And so after that, I looked for other areas of physics that I could do that to. And bubbles came up. So I'm a bubble physicist. That is my job. It's a real job.
That's amazing.
So obviously using high-speed photography and clever ways to listen and look at bubbles, which are very small, doing things very quickly, but they're important and they're everywhere around us. And so that took me into the physics of the ocean. So, scientific careers do that sometimes. You sort of find your way through.
Kind of swerve around through. And I mean, so different, but also correlated as well. That's so neat.
And what I really wanted was to be able to study the things I could see. There's so much in the world that's kind of, it's conceptual or it's far away. I wanted to play with the toys, right? That's what physics gives you. It lets you play with the physical toys of the world. So that there is a connecting thread going through.
That is so neat. And I mean, when you talk about playing with what you can see, I mean, in the ocean, a lot of it we can't see though, right? We hear so much about the perils of the ocean these days, right? But you wrote a book about the wonder and harmony of it. When I think of bubbles, I feel like those are like the perfect words that come to mind. But why did you decide to write this book and go this route?
The book came from a sort of frustration, in a way, that I came into the ocean by accident, and then it took me a while to work out why no one was talking about it. Because as soon as someone presented that the ocean is a physical object, it's doing all these physical things, there's currents moving around, I was like, oh, that's fascinating, tell me about it. And it was really hard to find out, because we look at the ocean, we look at the surface, right? And we think we're seeing the ocean, but really the ocean is this liquid engine underneath. It's doing all these things. And so I worked in ocean science. I kind of found out things and read, and I was enthusiastic. And then after 15 years of that, this is my second book, and it was it's time to choose another topic. And I was like, I have to write this book. I have to write what I see about the ocean, which is more than just one thing. And of course, it's different having this conversation in England, in the UK, because although we're an island, we are surrounded by land. But of course, here you are surrounded by ocean. And yet still, even though you can see the surface, we can't directly see what's happening underneath. And so it's hard to see this engine. But the real point is that, of course, the ocean isn't just important for culture, as you have here in Hawaii, but it's important for how the world works. It's affected history and battles and how we live our lives and how animals live. It's all affected by how this engine is turning underneath the surface. And that's what I wanted to write about.
That's so neat. And I feel like so fascinating, too. Is there maybe a fun or interesting fact about the ocean that we might not know that you can share?
Actually, my favorite one that surprises people is how strong the layers in the ocean are. So people can think that the ocean is just being one big pond, it's just water all the way down. But actually, it's got very distinct layers. It's got anatomy, internal anatomy. And I think once you see the ocean as something that has, layers, kind of stacked up like a layer cake going down. They're thinner near the surface, big deep layers below, with warmer water usually at the top and more going underneath. And you think of that, those layers kind of sliding around over each other. I really like that picture of the ocean. So I found actually that the simple idea that the ocean has layers is actually quite surprising to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I always kind of think of it similar to the atmosphere.
Yes.
And I don't think people realize kind of the same thing. Really interesting. Okay, I love that. Fun fact. So if you're interested in reading more fun facts, of course, your book. But speaking of, Hawaii actually plays a key role in it.
It does, of course. And my introduction to the ocean actually came through Hawaii. So years ago, the first research ship I was ever on was the Kila Moana, which of course is based here in Honolulu. But also even in London, I paddle outrigger canoes. And so I've been very fortunate. My club there was supported by Kimakeo Kapahuluhua on Maui. And so I paddled. We used to come to paddle with him. So I also have been privileged to paddle with Hawaiian paddlers and to learn that view of the ocean, of course, the amazing stories of Hokulea and the Polynesian Voyaging Society. And it's interesting because really we're all looking at the same ocean, but we're seeing it in different ways. And so Hawaii, of course, you know, the center of the... I love that if you turn the globe around and look at it from what everyone else thinks of as the back, you just see ocean, right? And of course, Polynesia is a civilization that has spread over that ocean. And so having that experience of paddling here and listening to the stories here it's been really important for me, but it's been really eye-opening for people who don't think about the ocean all the time, that there's such a tight connection in the culture.
So true. Yeah. And we can hear your perspective. And, you know, when you talk about the different views, we get to learn about your view. If you're interested in checking her out, of course, the talks, you're going to be speaking 2 different times tonight for the UH Better Speaker Series. And the details are on your screen right now for the URL to get a link over to the tickets or to reserve your spot over there. And then also at the Expo, we just talked about the Sustainability Expo yesterday, so you're going to be there this weekend too.
Yes, and I'll be talking about the ocean.
Perfect.
Sunday morning.
All right, wonderful. We're so excited to have you here in the islands. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.